Okay, deciduous forests are basically plants, or the trees that are in deciduous forests are trees that shed all their leaves every year. There is heavy rain, but dry seasons in the deciduous forest, and they're typically cold, but not as cold as coniferous forests. There's temperate and tropical, and they're almost the same, just in different regions. And just like the coniferous forests, the deciduous forests go through all four seasons.
Temperate would generally be the word that describes the cooler of the two, and tropical would be the warm. Okay, when you see those words, try to reference that. Okay, you just covered it.
Yeah. The soil is typically rich. It's when the leaves shed, or when the trees shed their leaves, the leaves decompose in the soil, creating a more nutrient-rich soil. And most of the floor is covered in leaf litter. So that's those two pictures. The trees are typically hardwood like oak and maple, and they have and hickory, and they have broad leaves like those that are up there, and they change colors depending on the season, and they conserve food in their trunk. The animals are migratory, and they leave food in, just like the trees conserve their own energy in the trunk. Of animals like squirrels and stuff put their nuts and stuff in there too. There are a few predators. There are a few predators left due to hunting and urbanization, and that's degrading the forest, obviously. The biggest environmental problem is, again, deforestation, and that's, again, for logging and stuff like that. But they cut down the trees, and fragmentation, like logging in the top right picture, and fragmentation's the other. And the solution is reforestation. Okay. Rainforest is the third type of forest, but it's the rainforest takes up the smallest area of land of all the biomes, but it contains the most biodiversity. It's located in Central America and some parts of Africa, and in some parts of India too.
That's going to be important. Mapping forest. Okay, and I don't know how many of you haven't noticed or have noticed, but I posted on Canvas the maps review and the ACTS review. Those are two things that we haven't covered that are going to be on Canvas that you need to know for the AP exam. Okay.
There's many different types of plants in the rainforest, and there's 4 different layers. And the sun does not, it's important to note that the sun does not penetrate through all 4 layers. The emergent layer is the top layer, I think.
You think there's another picture?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty.
The emergent layer is the top of the trees, and most trees can grow really tall, like 180 to 200 feet. This is obviously the zone with the most sunlight, and it has the most birds that live here. Then there's the canopy, which is where they have the most species diversity, and there's the most food, which is kind of like amongst the trees, not all the way at the top. Then there's the understory, which are where nocturnal animals live, because the sun does not go all the way down, all the way through. And there's a lot of species there too, a lot of species diversity. And lastly, there's the forest floor, which is extremely dark, and there's few plants, mostly just moss and ferns. The floor, like I said, is dark, and it's moist, so they have fast decomposition, so there's better, richer soil. The soil is nutrient poor, but the species are nutrient rich.
Good. So because of the rapid decomposition, the soil's nutrients get sucked up really fast by plants, so the soil is actually very poor, and that's why you see the vibrant colors throughout the forest, because the species are nutrient rich. That's the thought process there.
And the biggest environmental problem, is the degradation of the rainforest, and that's for, again, their deforestation. And most of it is for subsistence farming and agriculture, but it's also for logging too.
Yeah, that's probably a good question. So farming is our key reason for deforestation of rainforests because they eliminate the rainforest to use it as farmland and then logging. And that's it.